Guys, this is my last semester of college. I don't know how to feel about that. Hi guys, welcome back to Faith on the Spectrum. My name is Beth, and today I'm going to be doing another Q&A. You know, I just got so many great questions from 4 people. It's really not a bad thing. I love getting these questions from the people that I am friends with in real life. I don't know, that's such a weird term to me, but it makes the most sense to differentiate between people I meet online and people I know in person. So my 4 IRL friends sent me some great questions, and so I'm gonna just go ahead and answer them. I'll just start, by saying that, in my intro video from months ago, I did say that I am a senior and I am studying Unified Early Childhood Education, which means I will be qualified to teach birth through age 8 in both general education and special education settings. My focus I really want to put on special education, and there's kind of a variety of reasons, which I think some of the questions that I have, will answer them. So I'm just gonna jump right in. All right, so these next 3 are from one of my friends in the Unified Early Childhood program, Marin. Thanks for sending in the questions, Marin. I love you. So her first question, what made you want to become a teacher? I didn't always want to be a teacher. Kind of went back and forth with a lot of things. For a very long time, I was pretty convinced that I was going into graphic design. And then I changed my mind into sign language interpreting. So I'm not really fluent in sign language anymore. I used to be pretty good conversationally, but I just, I don't know. I think that, what made me want to be a teacher was spending time at my church's Sunday school program. And, I've always really, little kids have always gravitated towards me. Even when I was a kid myself, the younger kids would always want to be around me. And I think it's just because, I don't see the world as a child. I'm 24. Almost 25, I think that that's, kind of insulting to insinuate, that I think like a child, because I don't. I'm an adult. But I can understand the world through a child's eyes. And I'm able to just kind of explain things and really get into their imaginative play with them. I've just always been really good at that. And when I was volunteering at my church's Sunday school, I, just volunteered in the preschool classroom, and that turned very quickly into becoming a lead teacher. It was amazing. I loved doing it so much. And I think that that's really what made me decide, let's go on this path to actually do this for a career. What do you love most about teaching? The best thing for me about teaching is really just watching kids learn. It's so fun, I think, to just watch them gather information and process it and actually have learning from that. It's so interesting, and to know that, I facilitate that by opening up inquiry and leading lessons on why the world may be the way that it is. And I think just, knowing that I had a part in that, it's really humbling to me, I think, because I don't make them learn. They learn from themselves. I just give them the tools so they can learn. Favorite teaching memory so far? It's really hard. I thought about this and just trying to pinpoint, one particular memory that was, stuck in my mind. My favorite memories are really just watching, shy kids just blossom into these confident little superstars, really. I think there's one in particular which, because of privacy, I'm not going to use any particular pronouns. I'm not going to use any, possibly identifying information about, the place or the disability. But there was a kiddo in my class who had a disability. I think that, I just was able to connect with them in a way that other teachers just couldn't. And, we were glued at the hip. They were always wanting to be around me. And, I really enjoyed that a lot. It was, I have so many stories I could tell. But I knew that at some point, I had to leave. I wasn't able to stay there forever. Their teachers worked really hard with me to help with the independent skills that they were working on and learning. Knowing that I could be instrumental in them gaining independence and self-help skills, I was really honored to do that. I think that in the beginning, they didn't really want to do anything with anybody else. they would cry really, really hard whenever I had to leave. So I, would try to slip out quietly. It didn't always work. But towards the end, like within the last 3 weeks, they really spent a lot of time with their teachers, and they were, okay with, not coming to the door with me to say goodbye, because that was kind of a routine that we had. But, we didn't want them to be upset every time I left. They would explain, where I would go, what I was doing, when I'd be back, if I would be back. We spent a good week preparing them, just to let them know that, Miss Beth isn't going to be coming back. This is her last day. This is what we'll do. So as we worked on those, they didn't feel the need to, melt down whenever I had to leave. They were okay, and they wouldn't always want to walk me to the door, and that was fine. I'd just be like, hey, do you want to walk me to the door? And they're like, no, that's okay. And so I would just say, bye, you, and they would wave back, bye, Miss Beth. Their nickname for me was Bathtub, because when I told them my name was Beth, they laughed and said, no, your name is Bathtub. So I think that's probably a good favorite memory, is getting my nickname from them, Bathtub. I'm the bathtub teacher. They were forming friendships in the classroom, and one of the other kids in the class would be like, yeah, they're my best friend. I'm their best friend. And, we try to avoid using those kinds of talks because, everybody should be really close friends. But it was just really warm-hearted to see, one who is not disabled and one who is. It didn't matter to them. They were just like, you're my friend, and I love you, and I want to play with you. And they would be really attached at the hip, and it was just, that was fun to see, I think. So I think my favorite teaching memories have to do with, growth. My next set is from Kelly, who I've mentioned her before, is my best friend from childhood. Kelly, her first question was, when did you know this was your calling? As I said, as the time went on with teaching in my church's Sunday school, it really became apparent for me to that this is, what God's calling me to do. There was one particular instance. There's a big family at my church. Half of the class ends up consisting of them. One side of the family was having some pretty significant difficulty. The kids were in the class, and, the kids were kind of upset, and their mom told me what was going on. So I kind of was able to have that understanding of this is why they might not be acting, how they are today. And so there was a set of siblings, one older, one younger, and the older one was kind of acting out, he's much more relaxed. So it was very unusual for him to be an antagonist and picking on his cousins. It was very out of character for him. The younger girl was very, she's not usually withdrawn, but she was quite withdrawn. She was very sad. She didn't want to do anything, which is very unlike her. So I kind of came up and I said, hey, let's talk. Let's just talk for a little bit. And I let her know that I actually know exactly what she was going through. I just, I was like, I want you to know it's okay to be sad, and it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be confused. It's okay to cry. I want you to know that whatever you're feeling is okay. I've felt those same things too. So I just want you to know that you can feel however you need to feel. But at the end of the day, I want you to know that God loves you, and I love you. And everybody in this room loves you. And she looked at me, and she was only 4 years old at the time. She looked at me and just started crying and just nodded, and then she fell into me just sobbing. That literally changed everything for me. This is what God is telling me to do. It was that exact moment that God showed me my purpose, to be a support for young children in the way of education. It makes me a little emotional sometimes just talking about it. It was this is what I'm doing for the rest of my life. This is exactly, God put me in this situation for this reason. Now, the family's doing great. I still see them from time to time, the kiddos, and they're just so wonderful. All but the youngest are in the elementary program now, or they're up in regular church. So I don't see them as much anymore, and I haven't been to my church in about a year just because of the virus, but I miss them all. I miss them all a lot. And then she also asked, what's your favorite teacher style Luke / favorite place to shop for teacher clothes? I kind of thought you'd ask something like that, Kelly. I know you. I really don't have a lot in the way of teacher clothes, unfortunately. I'm gonna try and change that because this is like my really professional, like I'm gonna be here doing this every single day for the entire semester. You can find some really good stuff at thrift stores, like no lie. I think my favorite place, like if I want them new, which I try to not buy like new clothes too much, just, you know, environmentally conscious. I try to be that when I'm buying clothes. But if they are new, I get them usually from Kohl's or Target. I really like Kohl's in particular because Kohl's Cash. You can get some incredible deals with the Kohl's Cash. And then I also have some really great outfits. I have 2 striped pantsuits, which are my favorite, and one of them I got at Target, and I don't think I have a picture of me wearing it, but the other one I got at, I think I got it at Ross Dress for Less. So I did get a picture of that one with Marin and Mel, actually. So yeah, here we all are. Next set I got from Callie, who's also in the Unified Early Childhood Program with me. Hi Callie, you're the best. And she asked what the most rewarding moment was. I had the one earlier, but I think that like if I were to try to, as far as like rewarding, seeing, hard work paying off, I guess I would have to say while we were doing our practicum, we also in another class had teaching English to speakers of other languages, TESOL, which ESOL is another term for ESL learners, so English as a second language. In the school district that I was at, if a child has one parent who speaks any other language besides English in the house, they automatically qualify for ESL services. They don't have to take them, but there are several who do. But I had an ESL-focused student, and they were awesome. They were a great kid. Always had a smile on their face, always was happy to see me, loved being around me and my friend Eva. We were in the same classroom together, and we had different focal students, but they were the only ESL students in the class, actually, so we each got one. My student, their mom spoke Spanish at home. They actually didn't know much Spanish at all, but they were enrolled in the services to try and develop, the bilingualism. She could say some things in Spanish. She could understand it, but she couldn't always speak it. I think that's probably why, but I don't know. Eva's focal student, it was their first year in formal school, and they spoke no English at all. It was definitely different, but, we were at an advantage in who our focal students were because Eva had recently come back from Peru doing a teaching experience there. So she had some Spanish knowledge. So she was able to work closely with the focal student in Spanish. In this experience, they learned English, they learned about reading, they learned, so many things. Towards the end, our focal students actually were becoming friends. They would speak to each other, in Spanish. Eva's student would do their best, speaking in English. Towards the end, it was just very, very cool. Very, very cool to see how they grew. And our last lesson, we did a joint lesson and they worked together, and it was just so rewarding to watch both of them because my focal student had significant trouble with reading. I don't really like the use of flashcards, but just because of the limited time we have, we only had one day, 3 hours a week, and we only got like 25 minutes each time. So realistically, we only were teaching them for like 25 minutes a week. I sent them home with flashcards, and they, were proving to me how they were working on them, and I made like games for us. I brought in a whole bunch of books, did some reading together, and then passing off like on the pages. And then eventually we were able to find a book that they were able to read, I think by themselves, like 90 to 95% of it. It was awesome. It was so awesome to see. So that was, I think, really rewarding to watch both of those kiddos just blossom. What's been your biggest obstacle in teaching? I came into student teaching at a very weird time in history. With the autism, though, I experience severe anxiety and stress, and I don't handle stress very well. And that's not to say I can't ever handle stress, because there's gonna be stress in life. It's just a fact. I'm not gonna be like, the world has to 100% cater to me every single time so that I can handle it. Because if I can't handle it, then you're doing it wrong. I'm not like that. I know that the world does not revolve around me and what I'm comfortable with and what I'm capable of. But when I'm handed a little too much, it affects me, not just, psychologically, but also physically. I end up feeling nauseous. I don't sleep, I don't eat, because I'm so nauseous. I get headaches, I get pretty strong headaches, and I just, I'm really reclusive if I'm like too stressed, or I want to just give up. Like, I'm so stressed that I can't move, I can't do anything. And then like my muscles hurt because, I'm tense. So unfortunately, last semester I dealt with a lot of that. There was actually one day where I was supposed to lead a lesson and it was all virtual. So I ended up turning off my video like in the middle of it, and I ran to the bathroom and had to try to not throw up. That was not a good day. Went through all of this. Yeah, my biggest obstacle, I think, is to just balance effective time management, to not have to do too much at once, and to do work effectively and efficiently within a reasonable time limit. Last semester was really, really rough because, what we normally would have had like 8 to 10 weeks to do, we had to squish them into 5 in my district because they started late. It was all online. It had its own host of challenges, but it was also extremely rewarding. I had the most amazing clinical supervisor ever. They were amazing. And yeah, I think that's, my biggest obstacle has just been stress management and time management. With the right supports, though, I'm getting better at it. My last set comes from Audrey, another really close friend of mine. We're in the same campus ministry, and we just did a video together not too long ago, so go ahead and check it out wherever it goes. I don't know the YouTube layout very well. She asked 3 questions. She asked, how long have you wanted to be a teacher? Even though I already knew. If you already know. Yeah, I guess if you're kind of going like age-wise or time-wise, I guess it was really in the past like 4 years that it's really been solidified that this is what I want to do. And I think really from that moment at church. So like 2017, I was about almost 21 years old. So for the past, 3.5, 4 years, I've been like that. I've known that's what I want to do. What's the funniest moment? I have so many good ones. I think that the cutest one, the funniest one, same kid in both situations, because I have 2 of them. The first one, I'd heard her talking about, what she wanted to be when she grew up, because they were all going around the table talking about it. And like earlier in like the conversation, I thought she had said something about wanting to be a mom. And so I was like, did you want to be a mommy when you grow up? And she looked at me and she laughed. She goes, no, Miss Beth, I want to be a dragon. Duh. I was like, Harry, don't say duh. But that was really funny, so I laughed pretty hard at that. So, kiddo, I hope you grow up to become a dragon. I really do. And then, same kid, different day. We had a rule in the classroom about not rocking back and forth, in the chairs, because they weren't like rocking chairs. They're like 4 legs on the floor while we're eating, while we're sitting at the tables, because it's not safe to do so otherwise. They were rocking back and forth in the chair pretty hard and almost tipped over once. Kind of scary, but I told her like, hey, 4 on the floor. She asked, what does that mean? And I said, we have to have all four legs on the floor, all 4 feet on the floor. And she looked at me and she goes, but Miss Beth, I only have 2 feet. I laughed. I was like, that's not quite what I meant. Then I had to explain what I meant. I said, chairs have legs and they have little feet on the bottom. So I know that you only have 2 feet. But those 2 are the funniest moments I could think of. And then last question is, what keeps you going on a difficult day in the classroom? I've had difficult days in the classroom. Either, it's me, what I've been going through. Sometimes it's just, a hard focusing day, distracted by so much, by everything. It can be just a whole combination of things. And I think especially so with isolation and, remote teaching, it really has caused pent-up frustration and really just missing, where they were at. And some kids just really refusing outright to participate because they just did not want to. They didn't like being on camera. They didn't like talking for one reason or another. What keeps me going is just knowing that something will stick eventually. If I just stay persistent and I keep on top of it and I stay consistent in what I say, what I do, and be really honest, practice what I preach, really. Kids can smell bull honky from a mile away. They know when you're not being true to them, when you're not being completely real. They know. If I keep it up and just keep doing what I'm doing, something will stick. And if I have to change up a little bit, that's okay. But I stay central to who I am, what my values are as a teacher, what, is best, what's developmentally appropriate practice, and just remembering all that I've had to overcome and try and get into their feelings. Maybe they're doing this for a specific reason. And it keeps me going just knowing, especially with the younger kids, that I might be the only consistent thing they have in their life. So that keeps me going. Yeah, I think that kind of is the answer, is that just knowing that I am important to them and I'm a central figure in their most pivotal years. That's what keeps me going. That's what drives me. I think that's everything. Yeah, you guys asked some really good questions. I really do appreciate it. I'm hoping that this, my last semester is a very transformative one in every way imaginable. I hope that I really can solidify the skills I know I need to be the best teacher I know I can be. And I just hope, that through it all, I always remember God's in control. And I hope and pray you remember that too. No matter what's going on, God is in control. He has a purpose. He has a reason. He's given you a purpose, and he's given you a reason. Always remember that. Make sure you are subscribing. I really appreciate seeing all my subscribers. It's kind of crazy to me. I did not think it would be, as popular as it is. I know I don't have like thousands of people following me, but it's really cool to see that there are people that are interested in, what I have to say. Because I feel like I'm not that interesting of a person, to be honest. I think that there are interesting qualities about me, but like overall, I don't really think I'm that cool. So thank you guys for tuning in so much and watching my videos. Yeah, thanks for watching, and God bless.